Ace 88.5 FM is your only station.
From Royal Communications Incorporated, good morning and welcome to King's News Broom, the 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Stories we're following this morning. The embattled Speaker of the House of Representatives, Councillor Funati Kofa, reiterates his innocence of the Capitol building fire incident as the Liberian National Police writes the majority bloc of the House of Representatives to turn over lawmakers who he believes are a person of interest in the investigation. The Director General of the Liberia Broadcasting System, Eugene Falcon Sachs, the President of LBS, welcomes young Joseph Sion with immediate effect, describes Sion's action as severe misconduct aimed at tarnishing his reputation and bringing the entity to public disrepute. Brown County District 3 Representative Marvin Cole resigns as member of the National Patriotic Party following his suspension by the NPP's National Chairman Josh Moba and other executive members. And away from Liberia, the reported disappearance of more than 80 government critics over the last 6 months has caused a huge public backlash in Kenya. These plus much more all packaged. We'll take a very short break to be right back. Thanks for rejoining us at this juncture. We now cross over to Cornelius Johnson for the news bulletin.
The House of That's the Speaker of the House of Representative Councillor Funati Kofa has reiterated his innocence at the Capitol building fire outbreak, which police are treating as arson. The Speaker's latest comments is in response to the former request from the Liberian National Police to the majority bloc of the House of Representatives to turn over those named in the probe as persons of interest to assist in the investigation. Reacting to his Facebook page Thursday, Speaker Kofa said he understands that by communicating to the House of Representatives majority bloc, the Liberian National Police has invited him and others to assist in the investigation of the fire incident. According to him, since the unfortunate occurrence of the incident, he has been consistently cooperative and has ensured the cooperation of all persons under his employ. Speaker Funati Kofa reiterated that he is and remains absolutely innocent of any involvement in the fire incidents, which the Liberian National Police described as arson. He wants the authority bring in international fire experts to assist with the fire incident to ensure transparency and fairness in the ongoing investigation. Brown County District 3 Representative Marvin Cole has officially resigned as member of the National Patriotic Party. In the electoral address to former Vice President and NPP Standard Bearer Joe Howard Taylor, Representative Cole outlined the reasons for his resignation as constitutional breaches and the lack of due process within the party's leadership. Representative Cole's resignation stems from what he described as an illegal suspension orchestrated by the NPP National Chairman George Moba and other executive members. According to him, the suspension, which included other members of the Coalition for Democratic Change, was carried out without affording him the opportunity to be heard as required by the party's laws and constitution. He further emphasized that his decision was motivated by the need to uphold the rule of law amid the ongoing legislative impasse. The Brown County lawmaker, however, expressed disappointment in the leadership of Chairman Moba, accusing him and other executive members of failing to protect the party's constitutions and prioritize the interests of the people. The Director General of the Liberia Broadcasting System has dismissed the president of the Liberia Broadcasting System, Workers Union Joseph Sion with immediate effect. The LBS Workers Union, through its president, recently accused Director Eugene Facon of running an autocratic leadership. They noted that they are being enslaved and subjected to psychological torture since Fagon's appointment to the entity. However, addressing a team of LBS workers on Thursday, Director Fagon denied all allegations levied against him and termed Sion's actions as severe misconduct aimed at tarnishing his reputation and bringing the entity to public disrepute. According to him, such actions violate that's Chapter 4, Section 2 of the Civil Service Agency Standing Order, which, among other things, calls for suspension or dismissal of would-be violators. Director Fagon further urged employees of the state broadcasting system to see the dismissal of Joseph Sion as a caveat, noting that he will not condone any acts of misconduct or this meditation or disinformation to tarnish his reputation or undermine his leadership. Firefighters on Thursday managed to prevent what could have been the third fire outbreak at the Capitol building after detecting smoke in the rotunda of the building. The Liberia National Police, that's the Liberia National Fire Service, attributed the incident to an electrical fault caused by a water-soaked breaker in the rotunda, which began to spark. Officials say the situation was brought under control before it escalated into a full-blown fire. This is a terror-related fire incident at the Capitol building in recent months. On December 18, a major fire engulfed the John Chambers, causing extensive damage to the facility. The December's fire led to multiple arrests, and the police have forwarded several individuals to court in connection with the incident. Deputy Information Minister for Public Affairs Daniel Sano has termed CDC's Wednesday news conference of a possible mass protest if the government attempt to arrest any of its members as inciting violence in the country. Mr. Sano said CDC wants to create a threat of instability by inciting tension in the country, which the government of Joseph Boakai would not accept. According to him, the press conference given by the CDC party chairman Janga Ko, was an endorsement of the burning of the Capitol building allegedly carried out by CDC lawmakers. The Liberian National Police has written the leadership of the majority bloc of the House of Representatives to turn over persons of interest for further investigations and indictment into December 18, 2024 alleged fire outbreak. Preliminary investigation from the police claim it was arson allegedly carried out by members of the minority bloc, particularly the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Councillor J. Fonati Kofa. According to the information, those wanted by the police are Speaker Fonati Kofa, Representatives Marvin Cole, Dixon Sibo, Priscilla Cooper, Abu Kamara, Frank Safoko, and Jacob Debbie, most of whom are staunch members of the opposition Congress for Democratic Change. CDC at a news conference Wednesday was emphatic that it will resist any attempt by the Unity Party-led government to arrest or incriminate and indict falsely any of its partisan lawmakers. President Joseph Boakai has sacked the Assistant Director for Operations of the National Security Agency, NISCO Wolo. According to an executive mansion press release, the decision taken for administrative reasons is part of ongoing efforts to ensure the effective and efficient functioning of Liberia's national security apparatus. The president's office said he assures the public of his unwavering commitment to maintaining the highest standards of professionalism and accountability across all sectors of government, mainly the security institutions. President Boakai extended his appreciation to Mr. Nisco Wolo for the services rendered the government and wish him well in his future endeavors. The Executive Protection Service has raised concern over what a term heightened safety measures surrounding the presidential and vice presidential motorcades. EPS Director Sam Gay, in a release, made specific reference to increasing intrusion and unsafe behaviors by unauthorized motorists, emergency vehicles, and pedestrians, which resulted into accidents of motorists, including drivers of emergency medical vehicles and fire trucks, because pedestrians observing the right of way or pedestrians do not observe the right of way of the presidential convoy. According to Director Gay, all motorists, emergency vehicles, and pedestrians must be sensitive to the sound of sirens from the presidential escort vehicles. He said refusal to comply will lead to a response from the EPS to neutralize any potential threat. Representative Yeke Koluba has petitioned the Supreme Court, arguing that the law must be upheld and asserting that Richie Kun is not qualified to serve as Speaker. In a statement made during an interview on Thursday, Representative Yeke Koluba accused former Vice President and Unity Party leader Joseph Boakai of suspending Liberia's constitution. Representative Koluba argued that Liberia's laws and constitution are straightforward for individuals to comprehend, but claimed that partisan groups have deliberately chosen to undermine and alter the nation's funding legal framework. The lawmaker also expressed support for the ongoing case before the Supreme Court and vows strong backing for Speaker Fonati Kofa. The chairman of the National Union for Democratic Progress and Reconciliation has addressed matters surrounding the burial of Senator Prince Johnson. In an interview on Thursday, Kupo Kra, the chairman of the Movement for Democracy and Reconciliation, expressed deep sorrow over the burial of the late Senator Prince Johnson, describing it as heartbreaking moment for the people of Nimba County and the MDR. The chairperson noted that Senator Johnson was a beacon of hope for the people of Nimba, and his passing has left many Liberians mourning. Kura emphasized that Johnson's contributions to the county and the nation has earned him profound respect, making his death an emotional loss for countless citizens. The managing director of the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation, Moali, is leading a team of engineers and policy makers on a 2-day feasibility tour to the southeastern part of Liberia to study the possibility of expanding pipeline water services to the region. As part of LWC developments and operational objectives, the corporation will be constructing, expanding, and modernizing facilities in Zweju, Plibo, and Greenville cities. Speaking in an interview with reporters, the corporation's communication manager, Nipson Tor, disclosed that the corporation hopes to rehabilitate and construct water systems in all 15 counties of Liberia by the end of 2029. He stated that the purpose of the LWSC facilities or feasibility studies tour to southeast Liberia is to assess locations to construct pipe network, construct groundwater system, and where to build water purification infrastructure. Tor pointed out that the 2 weeks technical study will also ascertain water quality analysis, assess communities to build public quays, and identify public structures that are desirous of water connectivity. It can be recalled that prior to the Liberian Civil War, both southeastern cities of Zweju and Greenville had LWSC's pipe-bomb water infrastructures, which got damaged due to the civil conflict. The Integrity Watch Liberia, with funding from the Embassy of Ireland, has officially launched a project aimed at encouraging transparency and good governance in the natural mineral sectors in the country. Speaking during the launch ceremony, the Director General of Integrity Watch Liberia, Hardware Eder, said the objective of the project is to ensure that Liberia generates its necessary benefits from the natural resources given the Liberian people. According to him, there has been lots of problems when it comes to the state generating the needed revenues to run the affairs of governance and undertake development that will benefit the citizens. Performing the launching of the project, Mines and Energy Minister Wemo Pei disclosed plans by the government to review most of the concession agreements by holding a national conference on the sector. Minister Pei said as part of government's plan to generate the needed resources from construction companies, the ministry is expected to deploy highly trained mining agents to the 15 sub-political subdivisions. The Liberia's People Party has expressed concern over what it described as rampant corruption that continues to undermine the country's growth and development. Acting national chairman of the party, Stephen Riggs, is therefore calling on the General Auditing Commission to make public all reports of audits conducted and all those linked to alleged corruption by the GAC. Addressing a major press conference held at LPP's headquarters in Concord Town Thursday, Mr. Riggs claimed that the delay on the part of the government to prosecute those linked to corruption in recent days is undermining the credibility of the government institutions. Commenting on the 8.5 billion United States dollars 5-year development plan, the LPP acting national chairman called on the Buakai's administration to abandon their proposed plan because 70% of the money will be borrowed. Mr. Riggs pointed out that given Liberia's high debt burden and stress, the need for prudent fiscal management because the arrest agenda will place an undue strain on the country's finances. The LPP also called on the government to impose 10% tax on all raw minerals exported from the country and encourage the Liberia Revenue Authority and the Ministry of Mines and Energy to work together in auditing the value of raw materials exported from the country on an annual basis. And a large number of members of the National Teachers Association of Liberia are to converge at the National Teachers Headquarters in Monrovia to present a petition demanding an audit of the leadership led by its president, Mary Newman, today, Friday, January 24. Several teachers who arrived from various parts of the country told the station that they are in Monrovia to present a petition to Madam Mary Newman demanding an audit for her tenure over the last 6 years. The teachers, in separate remarks, claim that they do not know or see what United States dollars collected from their monthly salaries, and as such, they want Mary Newman's leadership to give account of monies collected over the years by submitting an audit. The teachers, most of whom from rural Liberia, claim that they have not benefited from any program being undertaken by the National Teachers Association of Liberia leadership. According to the teachers, the NTAL secretariat has already been informed because they have written informing them that they will be presenting a formal petition of the teachers that's at the teachers' headquarters in Monrovia on today, Friday. Well, that's the news bulletin. It's back to you for the continuation of King's News Brown.
Cornelius Johnson with the news bulletin. The news bulletin is a regular feature on King's News Brown. What if you just joining us? A reminder, you're listening to King's News Brown, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Service we following this morning. The embattled Speaker of the House of Representatives, Councillor J. Fonate Kofa, reiterates his innocence of the Capitol building fire incident as the Liberian National Police writes the majority bloc of the House of Representatives to turn over lawmakers who it believes are persons of interest in the investigation. The Director General of the Liberia Broadcasting System, Eugene Fagon Sachs, the President of LBS Workers Union, Joseph Sion, with immediate effect, described Sion's action as severe misconduct aimed at tarnishing his reputation and bringing the entity to public disrepute. Bone County District 3 Representative Marinko resigns as member of the National Patriotic Party following his suspension by the MPP's National Chairman Josh Mowa and other executive members. And away from Liberia, the reported disappearance of more than 80 government credits over the last 6 months has caused a huge public backlash in Kenya. We'll take a very short break and we'll come back. We'll bring you the voices of the newsmaker. Thanks for rejoining us and welcome back. On this one, Representative Yeke Koluba has petitioned the Supreme Court, arguing that the law must be upheld and a certain that Richard Cohn is not qualified to serve as Speaker. In a statement made during an interview on Thursday, Honorable Yeke Koloba accused the ruling Unity Party, headed by President Joseph Boakai, of suspending Liberia's constitution. Koloba argued that Liberia's law and constitution are straightforward for individuals to comprehend, but claimed that partisan groups have deliberately chosen to undermine and altered the nation's founding legal framework.
But we impeach justice. Look, we are calling on the Supreme Court to not be deterred. The law should be the law. We should respect the law. Every time I come here, I will state my unrelentless that Richard Cohn is a junta speaker and he was not elected. He was not, and nothing can happen to me. The man is a junta, like Joseph Boakai is a junta, because uno a junta can suspend the constitution of a country. And Joseph Boakai is a junta because he has suspended and disrespected all the laws of the country and has suspended the constitution of this country. So we will push a matter.
Where are you heading?
Bossman.
You running away?
Yeah, running away.
To where?
Look, let me tell you something. I run away to your house. Look, let me tell you something. Our rules and the constitution are very clear. Not because a few group of people trying to disrespect the constitution and to disregard the laws of this country. You understand what I'm saying? They say they will impeach the justice, right? They will tomorrow the case. Let them say that and tell the lawyer not to go there.
Honorable, your colleagues, some of your colleagues, along with Ibadan Speaker Kofa Fad, read to the court, praying for declaratory judgment. They all affixed their signature to that document. You did not sign that document. What are
because
you
I was not here. I am saying that my signature. Let me tell you that when you ask a question, cannot answer. I'm saying that my name. I told them, you see me distancing myself. Look, I don't distance myself from my shallow.
Your name was
my name is there, man. If my name not there, okay, Apollo A. If my name is not there, Apollo A. I don't want to take your question. Listen, if my name is not there, Apollo A. We took the case to court. You see me distancing myself. You think I can't run out from my shallow. That is why my name is.
Your name is not on the document.
Okay, my name there now.
He's Montserrat County District 10 Representative Yeke Koloba. The managing director of the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation, Mo Ali, is leading a team of engineers and policymakers on a 2-week feasibility tour to southeastern Liberia to study the possibility of expanding pipeline water services to the region. As part of LWSC's development and operational objectives, the corporation will be constructing, expanding, and modernizing water facilities in Zoechu, Plibo, and Greenville cities. Speaking in an interview with reporters, the corporation's communication manager, Nissim Todd, disclosed that the corporation hopes to rehabilitate and construct water systems in all 15 counties of Liberia by the end of 2029.
So the managing director is leading a high-power delegation from the LWSC, and that delegation includes engineers, policymakers, and they will be going to Greenville, that's in Santa County, Plibo in Maryland, and Zwerju in Grangeda County. The essence of this trip is to conduct a feasibility study on the possibility of restoring and for the first time introducing. Now, I say restore because prior to the war, the systems were active in Zwerju and in Greenville, that is in Sino County and in Grangeda County. We had our presence there. Water and Sewer was providing similar service you are now utilizing in Monrovia, pipeline water in those two cities. But because of the war, this nation got ravaged. Every sector got affected, including the water sector. The systems there were ransacked. They were damaged beyond repair. So what the MD has decided to do moving forward on our strategic plan for the operations and development of LWAC is between now and 2029. At the end of 2029, this management is positive to restore pipeline water service to all 15 counties. So the trip to the southeast is to begin the process that will lead to the restoration of pipeline water in Greenville and in Zwerju, and for the first time in Plibo to construct a mini water system there. So this entire assessment will be about assessing the possibility, identifying location for the construction of the plant, identifying location for the construction of pipings, and also for the construction of the underground water, and where we can have our treatment infrastructure. So yes, it's a good trip for us. We are excited that we are beginning to unfold our development priorities that will positively transform Liberians. Water, safe access to safe drinking water is one of the pillars of the Millennium Development Goals, the MDGs.
He's Nipsim Tor, the communication manager at the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation. The Integrity Watch Liberia, with funding from the Embassy of Ireland, has officially launched a project aimed at encouraging transparency and good governance in the natural mineral sectors of the country. Speaking during the launching ceremony, the executive director of the Integrity Watch Liberia, Harold Adido, said the objective of the project is to ensure that Liberia generates its necessary benefits from the natural resources given the Liberian people. According to him, there has been a lot of problems when it comes to the state generating the needed revenues to run the affairs of governance and undertake development that will benefit the citizens.
This project is being launched at a time where the government of Liberia has concluded and launched its arrest agenda for inclusive development. If many of you who have looked at the arrest agenda, it has a financing projection of around 8.4 billion US dollars. If you look at the current national budget, hovering around 700 to 800 million US dollars, that clearly tells us that we have a financing deficit of some 4 billion US dollars. As a country, we particularly believe that our natural resources is one of the surest ways we can bridge this financing gap, optimize domestic resources, and be able to finance many of the development priorities that we have as a country. In this vein, many of you are aware that also as a country, we have a lot of challenges, particularly within the natural resource sector, in terms of how we as a country negotiate many of the concession agreements. Even when the concession agreements are negotiated, there are a lot of challenges around transparency, a lot of challenges around negotiating for value in terms of the fiscal terms of the agreement. We believe that we could negotiate better. But even with what we are able to negotiate for, ensuring compliance either within the labor sector, issues around human rights, issues around taxation, and a whole lot of issues, a lot of issues around compliance, environmental issues, the challenges that have come in many of the concession communities. What this project seeks to do essentially is to be able to work with all the stakeholders within the sector, the Ministry of Lands and Mines, the legislature, the EPA, the Bureau of Concession, civil society, communities, media, and all the stakeholders to be able to actually ensure that primarily capacities within the legislature to ensure that they are able to negotiate and scrutinize many of these concession deals are greatly enhanced, ensuring that we can work with the Ministry of Lands, Mines and Energy, the EPA and other regulatory bodies to also strengthen the capacity around compliance, as well as making sure that we as civil society can also monitor and advocate for better governance in the way our natural resources are managed is one of the fundamental pillars on which this project hinges.
He's the executive director of Integrity Watch Liberia, Harold Adido, speaking. What if you just joining us? A reminder you're listening to King's Newsbreak, the 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Stories we're following this morning. The Battle Speaker of the House of Representatives, Councillor Jit Fonatit Kofa, reiterates his innocence of the Capitol building fire incident as the Liberian National Police writes the majority bloc of the House of Representatives to turn over lawmakers who it believes are persons of interest in the investigation. The Director General of the Liberia Broadcasting System, Eugene Fagon Sachs, the President of LBS Workers Union, Joseph Sayer, with immediate effect, described Sayer's action as a severe misconduct aimed at tarnishing his reputation and bringing the entity to public disrepute. Broom County District 3 Representative Melvin Co resigns as member of the National Patriotic Party following his suspension by the MPP's National Chairman Josh Mowa and all executive members. And away from Liberia, the reported disappearance of more than 80 government critics over the last 6 months has caused a huge public backlash in Kenya. We take a very short break again to be right back for continuation of the program. Welcome back. On this one, the Liberal People's Party has expressed concern over what it described as rampant corruption that continues to undermine the country's growth and development. The acting national chairman of the party, Stephen Riggs, is therefore calling on the General Auditing Commission to make public all reports of audits conducted and all those linked to alleged corruption by the GAC. Addressing a major press conference held at the LPP's headquarters in Congo Town on Thursday, Mr. Riggs claimed that the delay on the part of government to prosecute those linked to corruption in recent days is undermining the credibility of government institutions. Commenting on the $8.5 billion United States dollars 5-year development plan, the LPP acting national chairman called on the Bwaka's administration to abandon the proposed plan because 70% of the money needed will be borrowed. Mr. Reyes pointed out that given Liberia's high debt burden and stressed the need for prudent fiscal management because the IRS agenda will place an undue strain in the country's finances.
The Liberian People's Party (LPP) called on the Bwaka administration to abandon the proposed $8.5 billion programs, which is expected to be financed by 70% borrowed money. Given Liberia's high debt burden and the need for prudent fiscal management, this program places an undue strain on the country's finances. Instead, the government should prioritize sustainable and transparent economic policy that will generate revenue without leading the country further into debt. Additionally, the LPP urges the Liberian Revenue Authority (LRA) to conduct a third audit of the gold industry to determine the actual quantity of gold own sources produced and sold in previous years. This is critical to ensure the government receives the proper revenue from the gold sector, which has historically been prompt to under-reporting and mismanagement. The release of the audit reports, which highlight various cases of financial mismanagement and corruption, should have sparked swift and decisive action. However, the delay in prosecuting those names in the report undermines the credibility of government institutions and erodes the public trust. The LPP called for an immediate and transparent process to prosecute individuals implicated in corrupt practices as outlined in the reports. The Liberian People's Party remains unwavering in its fight against corruption as a practice that is undermining growth and development in Liberia. LPP believes that unhindered adherence to the tenets of good governance will engender growth of national development. It is urgently necessary to adopt inward-looking development strategies rather than to live on the age-old tendency of carrying the begging boat, carving for aid through mortgaging the future of Liberia and its people. We therefore urge the Bwaka administration and all relevant authorities to act swiftly in addressing corruption, ensuring financial accountability, and implementing policies that will secure the future of Liberia.
Stephen Riggs, the acting national chairman of the Liberia People's Party. Mines and Energy Minister William Pay has disclosed plans by the government to review most of the concession agreements by holding a national conference on the sector. Mr. Pay said as part of the government's plan to generate the needed resources from concession companies, the ministry is expected to deploy high-trained mining agents to the 15 counties of Liberia.
Under the arrest agenda, what we intend to do this year as part of our priority is to host a mineral sector conference. And that is in fulfillment, is in line with a key principle in the arrests, which is inclusiveness. So instead of just sitting in government ministries and agencies and then coming up with regulations that are almost always not implemented, we want participation. What do we do with our mineral resources, for example? How do we manage it? What do we intend to do with it? And it will surprise you to know that a lot of the difficulties we are having with concessions in this country come from the fact that the concessions were acquired by somebody and then passed on after the one that acquired it made some money out of it, even though they actually came with nothing. Then they pass it on, and mainly most times for the purpose of just increasing their stock. And this is why the government under President Boakai is particularly keen on changing the model. And to change the model means that you have to be practical and realistic. The Ministry of Mines and Energy, as a regulator, is not even present. It's not decentralized. And that's why under the arrest, decentralization of the ministry is very key. In fact, when you hear about mining agents and inspectors, there are people, many of whom don't even understand what mining is. So imagine relying on people who do not even understand what is involved as a people to monitor. It's an impossible thing. So this year we are recruiting 15 mining engineers to assign to the counties because we'll be speaking with people who know what it means, who will not be intimidated by license holders because they know exactly what it is and what to go for. There are concession holders in this country who have been holding onto vital assets of the country for years, and those assets are sitting idle. We know the situation with Putu in Maryland, in Grand County. Billions of tons of iron ore that could help us is sitting idle because somebody acquired it and the person is sitting on it. And even we as a ministry can do very little about it.
His Mines and Energy Minister Wilmot Pay. Members of the National Teachers Association of Liberia are to converge at the NTAL headquarters in Monrovia to present a petition demanding an audit of the leadership led by its president, Mary Newman, on Friday today. Several of the teachers who arrived from various parts of the country told the station that they are in Monrovia to present a petition to Madam Mary Newman demanding an audit for her tenure over the last 6 years. The teachers, in separate remarks, claim that they do not know who or see why $2 United States collected from their monthly salaries, and as such, they want Mary Newman's leadership gave an account of monies collected over the years by submitting to audit. The teachers, most of whom from rural Liberia, claim they have not benefited from any program being undertaken by the NTAL leadership.
The entity has a mandate by the Constitution, and I think we all should be able to subscribe to the Constitution as members of the organization, especially those who are leading. The Constitution says that there should be an audit before the convention. In fact, we have been the first person to go to court for that year in Bapolo, and we want it at the headquarters that there should be an audit. So we are getting gathering signature so that we can have the petition. I'll be there.
I'm Lydia M. Colley, teacher from Bapolo County. Mine say I'm aware of it, and I agree for the audit to be done because I'm a due pay member of the Liberian Teacher Association. So, after 6 years ago, we haven't been knowledge-wise for our account. So I'm in support of the majority teachers for audit to take place so that we can know our account and our money where it has been going. So for that reason, we would like to audit the National Teacher Association of Liberia head office.
My name is Mr. Z. Johnson F. Kawe, teachers from Lofa County, specifically Lofa District. I'm part of those that we want for the leadership to be audited because of our 2% deduction every month. We want to get an account of our 2% deduction. With the core of the net, we support a net to do so. Since 2018 up to present, our 6 years, we have not made any formal report. This is why we want to support net or to be audited to give account of our 2% deduction. Most of the teachers, they are trying with NTL that they don't even know NTL because they don't even know them. As I speak to you, the listing that is being brought to Lofa, I'm in charge of it. I pass through so many places with the listing, and I'll be coming with the listing Friday. I'll come with the listing.
I'm the editor from Tori. I ensure the audit because of the information that was given to us. The leadership shall not been giving reports. They want to audit her. We will be able to know how our money are being spent. I'm not very happy because I don't know how they use the money, how much and the president taking, I don't know.
Some teachers of the National Teachers Association of Liberia calling for an audit of the president, Mary Newman. And away from Liberia, the reported disappearance of more than 80 government critics over the last 6 months has caused a huge public backlash in Kenya. A judge has warned he would imprison top security officials for contempt of court on Monday if they fail to appear for a third time to account for a recent string of alleged abductions. The case is linked to the disappearances documented by Kenya's National Commission on Human Rights since nationwide protests against proposed tax hikes began last June. At least 24 are said to still be missing. The police and the government deny kidnapping and illegally detaining protesters, but the country has a history of state-sponsored adoptions, and some Kenyans fear they are returning to the dark past. The Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, and Director of Criminal Investigations, Director Mohammed Amin, were ordered to produce and quote 7 social media influencers who disappeared in December. 5 suddenly reappeared in early January at various locations across the country. Mr. Kanja's lawyers asked the court for more time to record statements from them and file a report. One on that note, this is how I would like to go home on this edition of King's News, on the 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. But just before we go home, let's remind you of stories we've been following. The debattle speaker of the House of Representatives, Councillor Jet Funatikofa, reiterates his innocence of the Capitol building fire incident as the Liberian National Police writes the majority block of the House of Representatives to turn over lawmakers who it believes are a person of interest in the investigation. The Director General of the Liberia Broadcasting System, Eugene Falcon Sachs, the President of LBS Workers Union, Joseph Sion, with immediate effect, described Sion's action as severe misconduct aimed at tarnishing his reputation and bringing the entity to public disrepute. Broom County District 3 Representative Marvin Ko resigns as member of the National Patriotic Party following his suspension by the MPP's National Chairman Josh Mulva and all of executive members. And away from Liberia, the reported disappearance of more than 80 government critics over the last 6 months has caused a huge public backlash in Kenya. These are stories we follow here on King's Newsroom. Cornelius Johnson brought us the news bulletin and sat at controls as well. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is Newton Tokpah. But just before I go, I would like to say many thanks to all of our reporters and correspondents who helped in making this package. Also, ever better still, join us this afternoon at 1 o'clock, at which time we will be here with another splendid edition of the program Newsroom. Have a sort of pleasant morning. Good morning. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye-bye.